Welcome all. Today in architecture and town planning, we will get to know about the foundation of the Western architecture, that is a historical journey from a megalithic stone to the parametric design. So that is prehistoric to the ancient roots, that is what is the birth of the monumentality. So Western architecture begins not only with the blueprints but with the raw ambition. That is, prehistoric builders erected massive stone circles like the Stonehenge. There is a feats of the logistic and the communal with that predate written history by the millennia. So these megalithic structures served a ritual, astronomical, and territorial purposes, establishing the humanity's earliest impulse to shape the land space permanently. So, in that ancient Egypt, then terabitid construction, stone as the power. So, in terms of the ancient Egyptian builders are perfected monumental stone construction. So, that is a great pyramid of Giza. So, next is about the Terabitan construction, that is the post and lintel system, that is vertical column supporting the horizontal beams, becomes the foundational structure language of the ancient world, enabling wide interior spaces and the grand temple facades. So next is about the stone as the power. So across cultures, stone was the material of the permanence and the authority. So monuments in stone communicated divine favor, royal power, and civic identity. So a tradition that shaped Western architectural values for the millennia. So next is about the classical antiquity, so the Greek order and the refinement. So the ancient Greek architectures introduced the revolutionary ideas, that is the buildings should embody proposition, symmetry, and human scaled beauties. So the Greek architects developed mathematical systems of the order that govern every dimension of the structure, creating a visual harmony that has influenced the Western design for over 2500 years. So the three classical column orders, there is Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian. So each carried distinct aesthetic and cultural meanings from it. So the pediment, that is a triangular gable, and early truss systems for roofing expanded the possibilities of the interior spaces. So Doric, that is nothing but the sturdy and fluted columns with the plain capitals, and it is the oldest and the most used one. Then the Ionic, that is slender columns with the quality, there is scroll capitals, elegance and refined. The next one is the ornate capitals with leaves, that is the most decorative orders. So next is about the Roman engineering, the arch and the domes. So where the Greeks pursued ideal beauty, so the Romans pursued the structural ambitions. So the Roman engineering revolutionized construction through the mastery of inventing the concrete. So they mainly contributed in the forming the arches, domes, and contributing to the infrastructure scale. Next, the medieval era, that is the Gothic aspirations. So it is between the medieval era is between the 1150 and 1500 AD. So this architect transformed the European skylines, where the Romanesque buildings relied on the thick walls and the small windows, whereas these builders achieved a soaring vertically and luminous interiors through three revolutionary structural innovations. That is, by using they mainly contributed or invented and used the pointed arches and ribbed walls and flying buttresses. So the in pointed arches, so redirected truss more vertically than the round arch, so allowing taller, narrower openings and reducing the lateral wall pressure. So in terms of ribbed walls, so intersecting stone ribs created a skeletal frameworks that carried roof loads to specific points, freeing walls from structural duty. in terms of flying buttresses, so that is external arches, arched supports, that is transformed roof thrust outwards, enabling walls to become stained glass curtains. So we can use it allowed the use of the stained glass curtains, so most dramatically. So next is the Renaissance de Baroque. So that is the symmetry and the ornament. So it is between the 14th to 17th century. It was a deliberate reclamation of the classical ideas. So its principles was humanism and the classical proportion, then centralized symmetrical floor plans and mathematical harmony in facades, and a revival of the domes and the classical orders. So in terms of Baroque, the period was between 17th to 18th century. So that is pushed beyond the Renaissance resistant into the dramatic or the theatrical expressions. So that is a curved facade. They use the curved facades, dynamic spatial sequences, and elaborate ornamentation created the emotional impacts. Next is the 19th and the 20th century, that is mainly the Industrial Revolution period. So the Industrial Revolution fundamentally transformed the architecture's materials, methods, and also the ambitions. So it helps to shift from the load-bearing masonry to the steel and the iron frames. So it liberated buildings from the weight limitations of the stones, enabling the precision heights and the spans. So in 1850s to 1880s, so iron framed established exhibition halls. So that is Crystal Palace, which was built in 1851, and early steel frame commercial buildings, which demonstrate the potential of the metal construction. So next in 1880s to 19, there is the skyscraper era begins in Chicago. That is the home insurance building in 1985 is widely considered the first steel framed high rise building, and in 19th century to 1930, that is the curtain wall concept emerges. So the interior facade is decoupled from the structural load, becoming a lightweight skin of the glass and the metals. And after 1930s to 1950, art deco towers and the international style buildings define urban skylines. So the Empire State Buildings in 1931 becomes a global icon of the vertical ambition. So next, modernizations. Bauhaus and the international style. So that is modernization rejected historical ornamentation in favor of a radical new philosophy. So form follows functions. So pointed by the Bauhaus school that is found in 1990 by Walter Gropius and advanced by the Le Corbusier and other architects like the Lloyd Wright, and so the modernization sought universal rational design solutions. So the key principle includes the geometric purity, then honest expression of the structure and the materials, and the use of mass produced industrial components, that is glass curtain walls and open floor plans transform office and homes alike. So the international style spread globally, creating a shared architecture language of the steel, glass, and the concrete. So next is about the when it comes to late 20th to 21st century, there is a reconstructivism and the digital design. So in that mainly main contribution was the post modernism and the deconstructivism and digital design and the sustainable innovations. So these are the things which is done in the 20th to 21st century, that is post-modernization, that is historical reference, irony, and the contextual sensitivity. Then in terms of deconstructivism and the digital designs, so that is mainly the parametric design tools enable the architects to generate complex organic geometries driven by the algorithms and data. And in sustainable innovation, it first prioritized the environmental performance, that is using the green roofs, high performance glass facades, then passive solar designs and net zero energy buildings, so which reflects the architectural responsibility to climate and the community. So next comes the conclusion, that is the future of the building environments. So from the megalithic circles to the Stonehenge to the parametric curves of the digital design, Western architecture has always reflected the values, technologies and aspirations of its era. So each period built up the last, that is Greek proportion, informed the Roman engineering, and Gothic structural daring enabled the Renaissance revival, and the industrial innovation made the modernism possible. So they contributed the historical continuity and engineering and sustainability and human connection. Thank you.